All right, today we'll talk about a way of multiplying vectors. It's called the scalar product. It's also called the dot product. And this is how it works. We have one way of calculating the dot product. If we know the vectors, then that's the symbol for the dot product or scalar product. And we just multiply the corresponding components and then add 1 times 2. Another equation for the dot product is we have the dot product is equal to the magnitude, the product of the magnitudes of each vector, and then the cosine of the angle between them. If a question asks you to find an angle, you have to use this equation. If it just says find the dot product and you know the vectors, then you can just multiply it like that. All right, and pause the video and try that one. So we multiply the horizontal components, we multiply the vertical components. Here's another type of question. They want the dot product, but they give an angle. So now we need to use the equation that has an angle in it. And we don't know the vectors. All we know are their magnitudes. So now that means we'll put these on this side. So the dot product is just going to be this, 50, and cosine of 30. Cosine is radical 3 over 2. And we get 25 radical 3. All right, pause the video and try that one. Cosine of 60, 1 over 2, so we get 180. Times 1 over 2, 90. Find the angle between the vectors. So it's asking for an angle. That means we need the equation or the formula that has an angle in it. And now we know the vectors, so we'll put them over here. Then we have to solve for theta. So we know how to do this dot product. We multiply 6 times negative 2, and then we go 1 times 3 and add. Here we have the magnitude, so we're going to have 36 plus 1. And then here we're going to have 4 plus 9. And since we're going to use the calculator, you can just leave it as it is. Radical 37, radical 13. And then in the calculator, make sure you have parentheses around the addition. You're going to do that in the calculator and then do inverse cosine. So inverse cosine. We can put the radical together as one product. And the calculator will give theta is approximately 114 degrees. And let's just keep practicing using the different notation. So go ahead and pause the video and find the angle between these two vectors. A is 2, 4. B is 5, negative 1. Plus negative 4, 4 plus 16, 25 plus 1, 20 and 26. And we are dividing both sides by the radicals to get cosine by itself. And let's go ahead and just say, we'll do inverse cosine also. So we divide by these and then do inverse cosine on both sides. And you do that in the calculator, and we'll get 74.745 degrees is theta. All right. With this one, let's start it together, and then you can finish. So Let's graph these and then find their dot product. Over 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have that one, that vector, and then we go over 2, down 1, and that vector. Their dot product is 4 plus negative 4 is 0. Okay, pause the video and do the same thing for the next 3 and see what conclusion you can make about these dot products. Over 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 4, negative 2, up 1. If we do the dot product, we have negative 4 plus 4. And if we do the dot product, we have negative 4 plus 4. And here we're going to have 4 plus negative 4. All right, so the dot product is 0 for each pair of vectors. And then we can see a characteristic of in the graph, and all the vectors look like they are perpendicular. So it turns out that that's a test for perpendicular vectors. If their dot product is 0, then the vectors are perpendicular. And try this one. We want these two vectors to be perpendicular, so we have to choose a number that goes to go there that will make their dot product 0. So go ahead and solve that. Pause the video. The dot product is 3x plus 10. We want the dot product to be 0. So we know that x has to be negative 10/3 to make the vectors perpendicular. Here's the same type of question with different notation, and it says that this vector is perpendicular to this vector. They tell us what A and B are, but we just have to find K that will make these perpendicular. So we just have to substitute A, K, B. That whole thing is perpendicular to B. So if we have this vector dot that vector, we know that equals 0. Then we have 12 plus 2k. This would be 2 plus 3k. And the dot product is going to give us 24 plus 4k. And this will give us 6 plus 9k. So 24 plus 4, and we have 6 plus 9, Okay, the dot product equals 0 because it's perpendicular. They are perpendicular. So we get 30 plus 13k. And we can solve for k, negative 30 over 13. All right, and we will stop there.